Okay, so I have traced out all of my Brian pattern onto this beautiful fabric, and so now I want to start cutting. But I want to talk to you about cutting when you're talking about in terms of making it as accurate as possible. So I'm going to start with this foot on the end, and this is really, really long fur, so it's really important that you only cut the matting. But that is in fact important with any bear that you are working on, but particularly with this. So you'll see how those fibers are still sticking together? That's actually really important. So you want to cut just the matting, not the fur. And it's little snips with really good, now these scissors are tiny and sharp, but you want to slip the scissors between the fur and the matting, and particularly with the long fur, you'll know you're getting it right because the fibers want to stick together. And then when you get to a curve, rather than curving your arm around, which we are apt to do because we're humans, turn your work instead to the direction that you're cutting, and just make sure that you are cutting as accurately as possibly can on that line, so that you get the full amount of fur towards that edge there, but particularly down to the bottom of that foot. You really want that to happen. So if you're cutting this bear out of mohair or alpaca or one of the other recommended things for or anything really, you need to make sure that you're only cutting the matting, and that just requires a little bit of patience. But if you can do that from the beginning, you are going to have a much better and a much more rounded bear. You really want those fibers to be able to cover over where you're stitching. So take your time. It can take quite a long time to cut out, but be patient. Good sharp scissors, cut that all out, and I'll come back with pinning and starting to do the head.